All right, y'all. The playoffs are heating up. We're in the conference finals of each side. That's West and East. I'm getting ahead of myself. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Hot Takes, folks. This is episode 28. Sorry there was no episode last week, unless you all had the link. I apologize for that. I had technical difficulties on my side. But moving forward, as you can see here on your screen, Phoenix leads in the West 3-2. There are presumably 2 games left if Phoenix does not take Game 6, which they honestly should have taken Game 5, but DeAndre Ayton did not show up to play because Kawhi Leonard is still out for the Clippers, and honestly, Devin Booker's been a little bit of a shooting slump, and they've also gotten Chris Paul back into the lineup. Now, take it over to the East. Tonight, as of the recording of this video, it is now tied 2-2 between Atlanta and Milwaukee, to which a lot of people thought that Milwaukee was going to run away with this thing, probably going to do a gentleman's sweep 4-1 more than likely. I expected this to be a dogfight, and honestly, I have to say this about this year's playoffs. It has been the epitome of the terms next man up. I have enjoyed every bit of this. Now, most of the time, you would look at this situation, you would say, man, every single team in these playoffs have had a significant injury. This has been the playoffs of the healthiest contending team. When you think about it, that's every single year. You know, sports fans have this thing where we talk about, the gods of our, of a particular sport. Well, in basketball, we have the basketball gods. The basketball gods, they shined upon us this year when they took out the Brooklyn Nets. Nobody wanted to see LeBron go for another title because it's getting tired of seeing him in every single championship situation. It was good to see some parity for once. All the league's absolute best players are not going to be in the league, at least the ones we know to be the best players. So this year, we have the opportunity to see the rise of these young players. And if it's told us nothing else, or at least told me nothing else, is that once players like LeBron James and Chris Paul and Carmelo Anthony and all these great players that are going into the Hall of Fame, when they retire, when their run is over, the league is in good hands. Trae Young in Atlanta, absolutely amazing. Okay? Devin Booker, we already knew he was going to be as good as he is, but we didn't know DeAndre Ayton was going to show up the way he has, to which I have to say he's been the most consistent player in these playoffs, healthy or otherwise. He's been the most consistent player, except for in Game 5 where he didn't show up for real. I mean, he gave him a double-double, but he didn't do what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to give you that 20 and 15. He gave him like 10 and 11. He failed a little bit. Had he did his regular thing, the series would be over already. But I digress. Okay, we saw the rise and the fall of a lot of things. Now, I'm not saying we saw the fall of Brooklyn, but we saw the basketball gods, so to speak, shine upon the basketball fans. Because I can speak for a lot of people. I speak for myself in the situation right now, though. I, for one, have been sick and tired of seeing these these semi-all-star teams take over. I mean, this is part of the reason why I'm not crazy about the Drew League and all these other things, because you have all these professional players playing together. They're having fun, and that's great. It's always good to have fun and you'll be fond of who you're playing with. But when it comes to playing in the league, there has to be some sort of symmetry. There has to be some sort of level playing field, and this year we got a chance to see it. I'm so happy because even though my team got eliminated, I'm not worried about it because I got a chance to see Utah came on strong this year. Phoenix still fighting in there. I don't even know how the Clippers are hanging in there right now without Kawhi Leonard, but they're getting it done. Atlanta was not expected to be here at all. Not at all. Milwaukee wasn't supposed to get past Brooklyn, but we saw that happen too. We saw the collapse of the Philadelphia 76ers with Ben Simmons finally realizing, hopefully, that he needs to get a jump shot in order to take his game to the next level. Hopefully, he comes back next year with at least an 18-foot. That's a mid-range shot. If he can add a mid-range shot to his arsenal, he will be unstoppable. He doesn't have to shoot threes, but if he can shoot mid-range consistently, it's over for the rest of the league. It's over. Like he's what they call LeBron 2.0. He can be, but he doesn't have to be. It's up to him. Personally, I just want to see him shoot a mid-range shot, but we'll see when he comes back after the summer. Speaking of Ben Simmons, he will not be playing for the Australian national team this year in the Olympics in Tokyo. He will not be playing for the Australian team, which honestly is kind of a haphazard thing. I don't think he should not play for them. I understand he needs to concentrate on getting his shot together, but he can do that and play for the national team. Plus, you need to, put that thing on display. Here's the thing. It isn't that he can't shoot. He just doesn't want to shoot. I've seen him play in pickup games and practice and everything like that. I've seen him play freely. He shoots the ball very confidently. He's decided he wasn't going to shoot in the league, and that's a problem. He's being insubordinate at this point. Take that attitude to any job in the world. You're being insubordinate. They'll let you go for that. He's got security. He's under contract. They got to pay him. So the least he can do is produce. That's another subject, though. Okay, so as of this recording, like I said earlier, the Bucks and the Hawks are tied at 2. In this game, in Game 4, the Hawks were playing without Trae Young, who suffered an injury in Game 3. I'm not going to get into the injury because it's not really, it didn't seem like as much of anything, but, he did trip over a referee, which the referee didn't do anything wrong. Trae he took a wide step and he just hit the ground. He's going to be okay. He was supposed to be a game time decision in which they said he wasn't ready to go. So Game 5, hopefully he'll be there. Giannis took a bit of a spill in this game. He hyperextended his left knee, and he ended up exiting the game, but he did walk away under his own power, much like Trae Young did in Game 3. So, what does this mean for that series? It's probably gonna go 7 games. If Giannis misses at least one game, this is probably gonna go 7 games. I expect Trae Young hopefully to be back for Game 5. I expect Giannis, if he misses Game 5, he'll be back for Game 6, and that'll even it out. So I expect this one to go 7 games. I am going to give the edge to the Hawks. And why? Because I don't know. I'm crazy for that one. I really want to see the Hawks make it. Also, it would be nice to see, because also in this game tonight, we actually saw a Cam Reddish. Now, if you don't know who Cam Reddish is part of that Duke team with Zion Williamson and R.J. Barrett that year they got drafted. He was the 3rd best player on that team. We didn't see a lot of him that year because he kind of receded being the third best player, But that's kind of what happens. But he still went pretty high in the draft. He ended up going to the Hawks. Now, he played well tonight. He shot the ball extremely well, even though some people are going to call it garbage time, this, that, and the other. But he had some significant minutes, and he took some really important shots, and he made them too. He produced some really good defensive plays as well. Cam Reddish is coming along. Hopefully, after this year, we're going to see more of him, be it in Atlanta or elsewhere. I'm not sure what the Milwaukee Bucks are going to do. The big problem here tonight in this game was Chris Middleton didn't show up like he was like he should have. Now I understand that everyone goes with this whole Batman and Robin thing, where if Giannis is Batman in Milwaukee, that means Chris Middleton should obviously be your Robin. But for some reason, Robin on the road doesn't show up to play. He finished the game with like 16 or 18 points. That ain't good enough. Giannis finished the game with an injury, and he had 14, 15 points. Giannis couldn't finish the game, and that was in the third quarter when this happened. Chris Middleton, all he had to do was step up like he usually does at home. I don't know what it is. It's got to be a mental thing, but he's got a block about it. He's got to go ahead and get over that, because this game could have been, went either way. Unfortunately, when Giannis went down, Atlanta took over, and they did what they're supposed to do. Like I said, next man up, and nobody really stepped up for Milwaukee in this situation. Now, personally, I'm hoping that we get to see the Phoenix Suns take on the Atlanta Hawks, to which the reason I want to see that is purely selfish, honestly. I don't really care who wins that series, but I would love to see Chris Paul get his opportunity to win a championship. I just want to see him make an appearance. If he makes an appearance, then I have no doubt in my mind that if Carmelo Anthony decides to sign elsewhere next year, he'll sign to a team with a championship opportunity, and we'll get to see him in the championship opportunity as well. I would love to see that whole 2003 draft class get an opportunity to at least play for a championship. Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Darko Milicic was the first one to get one, and LeBron James obviously has got 4 of them. Carmelo Anthony is the only one from that class, the only significant player from that class who has not played in a championship game yet, and I would love to see him do that. Though he is going into the Hall of Fame because of his international play, having medaled twice. So these playoffs are heating up something terrible. I'm looking forward to it, and like I said, the hot take for this episode, I'm gonna give it to you early right now. In the finals, the finals I believe is going to be Phoenix and Atlanta, and I'm going to give the edge to Phoenix because I want to see Chris Paul win a championship. Trae Young has the rest of his career to win a championship or two. If Atlanta can get this far now, they can do it again. Chris Paul ain't got but a couple years left in him to begin with. So And I say a couple years in the sense that, he's injury prone this far into the season. And I mean, into the postseason, he usually doesn't make it this far. So I would like to see him get his opportunity to win a championship, because I get the feeling that if he doesn't win it this time, he may never win the championship. And that's a shame. As good as Chris Paul, he's a Hall of Famer in general. But Chris Paul should be in an opportunity. He should have an opportunity to win a championship at least once in his career. And I think that it's amazing that, he's in that situation right now. He led that team there, and subsequently the teams had to carry him through the playoffs. But that's how it should be. Next man up, everyone should help. Cameron Payne has been great for Phoenix. As I said in the last episode, if you had the opportunity to watch it, again, Devin Booker's been a little bit of a shooting slump. He did break his nose a couple games ago. And I take no pride in saying this. One of my favorite players in the league plays for the Clippers, Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley has a tendency to go a little bit over the edge, and I don't like the fact that, he takes shots at other players, be them physical or mental shots. And the mental shots I'm fine with most of the time. I just don't like it when he taunts players after having the opportunity to actually injure a player, like he did a game or two ago. Was it in this game? I cannot remember that game, actually. But, no, as a matter of fact, it was just last game. It was just the other day. It was inadvertent contact on a shot that Chris Paul took, and Chris Paul fell awkwardly to the ground, and he could have been hurt seriously. But the first thing Patrick Beverley does is he gets up and he taunts him, which I think is seriously, like, it's a problem. Sportsmanship is everything, and there are times when Patrick Beverley really shows poor sportsmanship, and I hate it. That being said, he's still one of my favorite players for the level of intensity, especially on defense that he plays with, and I love to see it. I just wish he had a better head about himself in the game. I understand being in the moment, but come on, dude. It's not cool. These playoffs have been absolutely amazing, simply because if you watch March Madness, the college the college basketball tournaments, they have what are called Cinderella stories. In this situation, we literally have 4 Cinderella stories. Okay, Phoenix went from not being in the playoffs at all last year, having been in the first ever play-in tournament in the bubble. They won all their games and did not make it, which was a shame. They had to fix that. So Phoenix went from not being in the playoffs to being the top seed, well, the number 2 seed in the West. Okay, so from not being into the number 2 seed, that's very impressive. The Clippers have never won a championship in franchise history. They are a true Cinderella story, regardless of who's on their team. And the fact that Paul George is having to carry the weight is amazing, because we're actually watching another Batman and Robin situation where Kawhi is Batman and Paul George is Robin. We could actually be seeing Robin turn into Nightwing. If you know anything about your comic books, you know what I'm talking about. All right. In the East, we have a team in Milwaukee whom, honestly, everyone was, on top of Giannis about his shooting ability, much like we on Ben Simmons about his shooting ability. But the thing about it is, at least Giannis takes a shot. He's not afraid to take the shot, even if he's going to miss it. Ben won't shoot. That being said, you got to love the tenacity that Giannis brings to every single game. He doesn't cheat you. Like, I look at Giannis like a nearly 7-foot Russell Westbrook. He can give you everything: offense, defense. He can dish the ball. He can dunk the ball. He can block. He can steal. He can do everything. He just can't shoot for real. It is what it is. He's like a 7-foot Russell Westbrook. I mean, those two are in the same vein. I love them both, but man, it's just one piece of the game is just missing. We're hoping it doesn't happen to Ben Simmons, but it is what it is. And then you have Atlanta. In the East, specifically in the East, in my opinion, is the most complete team. Now, when you say the most complete team, we're not talking about a team with the most stars. We're not talking about the team with the most potential. We're talking about a team that plays together. And in the East, no team plays together better than the Atlanta Hawks. They know each other's game, even the players who don't touch the floor very, very often. Okay, when they get their time to play, you see that all the practice they do together, it shows up on the floor. That means that everybody is ready to play. They are next man up, and that's a beautiful thing. Atlanta was not expected to get as far as they have, and they're proving everyone wrong every step of the way. Ice Trey, you know what? This is my guy. I'm gonna do this one time. Whew. I'm telling you, man, Trae Young is special. When he came into the league, they said he's gonna be the next Steph Curry. He might not be Steph Curry. I'm gonna take that one off of him, but he's special. He for sure is special. So the hot take for this week is It's going to be Phoenix and Atlanta in the finals. Now, speaking of basketball, we're going to stay on the same subject. Now, we do have a situation here where Julius Randle has been left off of this year's Olympic team. I think I may have mentioned this earlier, but as you can see here on your screen, Jerry Colangelo, the director for Team USA, he's the one that picks the teams, in coordination with the coaches and everything. He's the one who picks the players who are going to be on the teams to put them together, who's going to represent the USA this year. And this year, there are people a little offended that Kevin Love of the Cleveland Cavaliers is going to be there as opposed to Julius Randle, who had a great year this year. We actually saw him come of age in New York. He's the reason New York even made the playoffs. He had an amazing year, but to everyone who believes that Julius Randle is ready for international play, I want you to take a good look at what he did this year. We saw the good, but I want you to look at the bad. And then I want you to look at some Team USA highlights, both on the FIBA level and on the Olympic level. And then you're going to see a great difference in the way Julius plays and the way that those teams play and the way that they're coached. Julius is not ready for that type of play yet. Perhaps maybe when the FIBA World Games come around, he can play on that team because they play internationally as well, and he can get his feet wet to learn how to play the international game because the rules are different and the style of play is different. And they attack you differently from country to country. The game is it's not completely different, but it's like really, really different though. So as it says right here, he says it's because of his international experience. Yes, it's true. Kevin Love hasn't played much these past few seasons or years because this past year, between 2020 and 2021, he's played like 20, 25 games in total. Okay, but his versatility is a value. Now, I can't entirely say his versatility is a super value because they have players that can do what he does, but to those who are wondering why they chose Kevin Love over Julius Randle, I want you to take a look at this for me right quick. Right here, I know it's probably a little hard to see, but right here I have the list of the team that is going to be going to representing the USA in this year's Olympics. So you have Bam Adebayo from the Miami Heat. You have Bradley Beal from Washington Wizards. You have Devin Booker from the Phoenix Suns. Provided he doesn't get hurt, he'll still be able to play. Kevin Durant will be representing the Brooklyn Nets for the USA. Jeremy Grant, another big-time player who showed up in Detroit this year, is going to be there as well. Draymond Green will be returning for the U.S. team. We also have Drew Holiday from Milwaukee, Zach LaVine from Chicago, Damian Lillard from the Portland Trail Blazers, Kevin Love, as we just talked about. We're going to have Chris Middleton and Jason Tatum. Now, if you know anything about these players are very versatile. They can play more than one position, and they all serve a purpose here. Now, if you're wondering why they chose Kevin Love over Julius Randle, what's something that, if you know anything about Olympic basketball or international basketball, they have a tendency to they're a little shaky on the fouls, and Julius Randle has this thing where he can't pass out of double teams. Now, there's a lot of double teaming in international play. Julius Randle is a turnover machine when he gets double teamed, and they're going to take advantage of that if he were to be on that team. He either foul out of every game or he would be a turnover machine. They will make him USA's worst player. And now what would end up happening is if you took Kevin Love off of this team and you replace him with Julius Randle, what's going to end up happening is so the big men on this team are considered to be Bam Adebayo, Draymond Green, and at the moment Kevin Love. So there isn't really any true center on this team, which means at some point Kevin Durant is going to see some time playing center, which means you're going to go with a small ball lineup where everyone can shoot. If you take Kevin Love off of this team and you put Julius Randle here, you're putting a player who cannot shoot from the perimeter but so well. Okay, he's a turnover machine. Okay, because they're going to double team him a lot and he doesn't do well in that situation. He plays very rough and rugged around the rim, which you do need an inside presence, but they're gonna whistle him to death in that paint because I'm sorry, but he likes to throw a little elbows. I love the way he plays basketball in the NBA, but that doesn't fly on the international level. Okay, fouls that they're very tic-tac, on the international level. Now, everybody here on this team can step out and shoot a three. Every single player can. Jeremy Grant isn't the best at it, but Jeremy Grant's also super athletic. You're gonna have those players who just are there for experience to just see what they can do. Okay, some of these players might not even play at all. Draymond Green, we've seen him play in Golden State. He's really more of a distributor. He's going to be that guy that gives you a low triple-double. He can give you 10 assists. He can give you 10 rebounds. He can give you 9 to 10 points. That's really all he's going to be there for. If Kevin Love is going to be playing in this game, he's going to play something like 8 minutes a game, if any at all. Honestly, he's really there as a veteran presence. Now, I understand when you think veterans, you're thinking like, NBA teams where you have an older player there to lead and guide the other players. That's not what he's doing here. There are a lot of players here who have not played internationally, but they're getting 50 in the international level. Okay? All these guys can play from the perimeter and out. Okay? But Kevin Love has already played on this level. He's medaled. I believe he medaled in 2012. Okay? So he knows what it takes to win the championship. He knows what it takes to win that medal. He can teach, the players who are going to see less time. I expect Jason Tatum to get a lot of burn. You have Chris Middleton, who's going to be an absolute sniper. I expect Damian Lillard to actually start. I expect Devin Booker to probably either start or be a rotational player. Kevin Durant is definitely going to start. Drew Holiday will probably be a backup. Bradley Beal could probably either be a starter or a rotational player. This team, as currently constructed, can medal just based on who they have, and all they have to do is play together. Bam Adebayo probably won't be starting, but he will be getting a lot of burn because they can't run Kevin at the center forever. They can't do it forever because, I'm sorry, I love Kevin to death, but man, he's as soft as cottonelle tissue in that paint sometimes. And that's not his fault. I mean, that's just his frame. I mean, you can only do but so much and still play. So, that being said, Julius Randle will play internationally at some point. I surmise he'll probably play the FIBA level first, play some international ball on that level, see how it is for him, learn something, and then he can try for the next Olympics in 2025, 26. I think it's every 4 to 8 years. I'm not entirely sure. But he will get an opportunity to play. Just ain't his time. He's still pretty young. He has a lot to learn, and he has a lot of improvement he can make. This was just the first big leap year that he made. I expect him to be an all-star going forward. I expect him to extend his range. I expect him to get better at everything that he wasn't but so great at. Next year, I expect him to be able to pass out of double teams. Next year, I expect him to be able to make that last shot of the game instead of having to pass off to someone else. I expect him to be able to, play and not be in foul trouble at any given time. I also expect R.J. Barrett, who's going to be on the Canadian national team, who I believe they just qualified for the Olympics, so they're fine. I expect R.J. Barrett to be absolutely amazing next year because international play only makes you better for the following season. So it's going to be interesting. I'll be watching the Olympics this year, and with that, folks, I'm going to end this episode right here. I must let you all know right now that after the NBA championship, the title run is over, I may be taking a bit of a hiatus from the show for a minute because I do have a few individual projects that I have to turn my attention to. So we'll probably have maybe 2 or 3 more episodes together, and then I have to say goodbye for a while. But I've had a lot of fun doing this, and this has been an experience, and I love you all for tuning in with me. This has been a special thing for me, something I've always wanted to do, and I'm happy that I've been able to use this platform, and I've gotten used to doing it. Hopefully I've grown a bit since my first time doing this. I know I've had a lot of changes, and you've all seen me change a little bit here and there. But yeah, that's about it. I'll see you all next week. And hopefully by then we'll have our finals. Hopefully it will be Phoenix and the Hawks. I want to see that happen. All right, y'all. I'll see you next week. Peace.